What it do, ski everyone? It's your boy Failwhale34, and today I'm here with a special guest, Akasan.
What up? Venom. Venom.
So, as you can probably see by the title of this episode, we're doing a movie review for the film Venom.
Yep.
And we're gonna get into it. It won't be a very long or in-depth video, but I just thought I wanted to share my thoughts because I know a lot of you are wondering what I thought about the film. I have another friend here to help me out with it. So, Venom. Sony decided to go full on with their, spin-off Spider-Man universe, and the first one we're seeing is Venom.
Yeah. Damn. The first one. And it's interesting because I was really surprised by the reactions, no pun intended, of Venom. From both sides, really. Like, it's really weird. I've seen this before with BVS and some other movies like that, and similarities, like a movie comes out opening weekend, makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
But my experience in the theater, compared to what I'm seeing on Twitter,
Rotten Tomatoes,
right? No, not even Rotten. Well, I guess Rotten Tomatoes in some sense, but I don't even trust that. But it's with Twitter is the main one. Mm-hmm. I see a good amount of people that thoroughly enjoy this movie, and I was like, did we watch the same movie? Because there was no reaction in this movie theater that I watched.
You know what's crazy? So I watched it in my local cinema, and it's like the movie theater's like it's like a Scarborough. Like everyone gets, it's like a bunch of Scarborough men, and they're all hyped and stuff, but the audience reception seemed to enjoy it. Like they were
they were laughing.
They were laughing, and they're pretty lively. But anyway, the actual movie itself, you guys know the story of Venom. Pretty much the synopsis for this one is there's a symbiote in space. This company called the Life Company goes out searching to help humanity because, of course, the Earth is going to shit. That's how it always goes, right?
Always.
So they bring back these symbiotes and they try to merge them with humans to go live on longer. That's pretty much how this movie gets going, and that's Venom. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I had such low expectations going into this movie. It was from Sony. There was parts in this campaign of this movie from when it started. It's like, all right, we're doing Venom. Is it in the MCU? No.
Right, no.
Okay.
But that's what's crazy about that is there's such a mixed communication
from both ends.
Sony was like, Venom will be part of the MCU.
And then Kevin Feige in the interview was just like,
I don't think about that, son.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So for me, it's like Tom Hardy's being casted. Oh, that's kind of cool. So it was just a constant up and down for me. And then by the end of it, the reviews started coming out and they weren't the most positive. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to read into them. I'm just going to go watch it myself and see what I had. And even having low expectations, it still was not the greatest, if I'm being completely honest.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
What I will say is that I think Tom Hardy, as an actor, I think he does his thing with what they gave him.
Absolutely.
It's a very, just like a popcorn sort of it's like a superhero movie that seeped through all of the products that's been made.
I think it was a superhero movie that escaped 1994, basically. Like,
exactly.
It's like, oh shit, this is the future. Like, is this screenwriting style? Everything's changed, Like, that's my biggest problem with that.
I will say, though, I do think that this movie is overhated on, slightly.
Okay.
I actually think it's slightly overhated. I thought for the first 45 minutes or so, it had some sort of consistency with what they were doing in the goofiness and the delivery and stuff, and I guess the logic within the movie. For some part, they're rolling with it, and I'm like, okay, like it's kind of funny at parts, but it was like bad funny, like enjoyable. Like I could see, I was kind of like, okay, it's not terrible.
I see.
It's bad at parts, but like I'm having a decent time watching this, laughing at occasionally at the jokes. The first 45 odd minutes or so, I guess I didn't mind it. I was like, you know what, this is not the greatest at points, but it's kind of enjoyable. I think Tom Hardy's doing a solid performance. They're just doing a very generic story, but like they're going at it a decent way, right? I already accepted. I had low expectations. Yeah. And then after, I think the 45-minute mark, for me, it just started getting progressively worse. It just started getting
progressively generic.
Generic. It just started like the logic for the characters and what they were doing
You're a loser, like me.
Yeah, like me. Shit like that, and then stuff like, oh, we need to find right symbiote matches for you. Oh no, I'm getting attached and all of a sudden it works perfectly fine. You think I would have tried that? There's a bunch of dumber decisions as the movie progresses, and for me, it's what really ruined it from at least holding out as like a...
Maybe like a good point. I mean, I think there's little details that they ignored that probably would have worked a lot better. Like the symbiote thing you just mentioned about with Riot, him becoming a symbiote, it probably would have helped if they showed the perspective of one of the symbiotes, like looking at the way that dude, the boss or whatever, was bossing around people and being a dick all the time.
They could have thrown something in.
Where the symbiote was watching all the time. It's like, oh shit, we're gonna match really well. Because it just really felt like an afterthought sometimes.
Afterthought. I feel like there's a lot of afterthoughts in this movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they had put a little bit more thought into the last hour of the film or whatever it is.
Even with She-Venom, yeah.
Which, like, that was just like, how was she not dead? It's like everyone else who got the symbiote right after died instantly, so how the fuck...
Bonding, I mean, like the rabbit, I guess. I mean, it was all hells of goofy. If I remember correctly in the comics, Anne was dying. She was dying of something or whatever, and so Eddie made the choice to put the symbiote on her, but the symbiote kind of liked being there as well, and so, but then she went kind of crazy for a while, and then finally the symbiote went back to Eddie, but that's another situation.
Yeah, so like they did that, it's all just like really afterthought, convenient things for the plot that didn't really work with what they set up for the first 45 minutes, so when it got to the last hour, it just felt jarring, awkward, too random.
It's funny because I kind of felt like, for me, the way the editing set up in the beginning was actually the part that really it made it really hard for me to connect with the movie, the entire movie from that point on. There was a point when I just kind of like just clocked out, and I'm just like, this is just dumb after a while. Like when I think right around the same time when Riot started appearing, and suddenly there became a plot to like bring the symbiotes to the planet or something like that, and like they were launching a space shuttle mission. And it's just
like the movie for me worked best when they just started it off and you know Eddie was down and out. Like those parts were probably my favorite of the film.
Yeah, I agree. At that point, yeah,
it felt more at least
it was building up to something.
It was building up something,
right? But
and
I just really felt like the other than Tom Hardy, there wasn't really an interesting casting at all. There was nobody that interesting in this movie. Maybe the second best interesting person was probably the doctor, Anne's new boyfriend or whatever. Yeah, like he was actually the only one that like seems something, he kind of cared, and he was kind of, you know, everybody else just kind of seemed to have phoned in their roles that really did not.
Michelle Williams seemed like she kind of phoned it in.
It was just kind of weird. Like for me as a Venom fan, somebody who's grown up with Venom, someone who has a Venom tattoo, and is probably my favorite Marvel character outside of it's kind of right in between Spider-Man and Venom. So
how do you feel that they did with that character?
Which one? So you mean the non-existent Spider-Man? Or like,
with Venom, sorry.
With Venom, it was just really hard for me to adjust. Like I knew going in that there was a big chance that Tom Holland wasn't going to be in a cameo, even though we kept on hearing rumors that he was going to be in it. He was going to cameo in there, or they were going to mention Spider-Man or something like that. It was hard for me, I think, as a longtime fan, to go in there and accept a new origin, but Sony, the screenwriters, still making mentions of the original origin and the different versions of it. And that being said, for example, the animated version of the symbiote saga, the Black Costume saga, the alien costume, is the J. Jonah Jameson's son is an astronaut who comes in and a space shuttle crash lands. And I even think Spider-Man 3, that was the same plot as Spider-Man 3. No, it was a meteor. Meteor, right. Okay, so in the...
Although there was like a comet where they got the symbiotes in this one too, so it's a little similar.
Similar idea, but they name drop Jameson's name, and
I had to fall out of New York and stuff like that. He said I had to fall out of New York.
What's that one?
Eddie said it. Remember in the beginning of the movie when he's talking to his manager or whatever at that company, the newspaper?
Oh, the Daily Bugle. No. I'm talking about J. Jonah Jameson's son as the astronaut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was an astronaut and he came back as Wolfman in the comics or some shit like that.
Shit, okay.
But anyways, he came back with the alien symbiote. And so they name dropped Jameson as the astronaut. And I'm just like, I don't mind that they want to change the origin, but they kept on making nods to the original origin that, as a fan, just made me want the original one instead.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. There were so many parts of the movie. I'm like, wow, like some of the things that they're doing here are actually kind of cool. I wish this was in canon with the MCU.
Like what, for example?
Like just seeing like the symbiote just like going down, like just causing a havoc in the street. I'm like, fuck, I would love Spider-Man to just pop up or something and swing on by and be like, hey there, you know, big ball of like poop. Because like, so speaking of the action, right? I actually kind of like the first 1 or 2 action beats when he's first in the suit and he like eats the guy's head off. And,
yeah, that was cool.
And the one in like I think there was a lot of glass in that auditorium, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like the SWAT team's pulling up on him.
Oh, right. Okay.
I thought those were actually kind of cool and visually looked pretty impressive.
Funny enough, it might have been because I was wearing 3D glasses, but I was just like people keep on saying the action was good, but I just felt like I mean, I'm gonna have to probably watch it. I bought my reservation ticket in Japan for when it comes out next month, so I'll probably end up watching it again anyways. But I don't know. It was just kind of like. I don't know. It was for me personally, and my fans on the Red Nation channel, they know that I never really talk about action scenes so much because story-wise and story development-wise, there's no point to it. Action scenes that it really doesn't develop the characters too much because if you can already guess what the end point is going to be, action scenes just feel like time fillers unless you're maybe Justin Wang or particular directors that know how to really make somebody talk about really besides biting somebody's head off. Was there any sort of special camera movement or something paneling?
Was there any emotional weight to it or added
Mission Impossible has lots of action scenes, but we all remember the Dubai mission, the Whirlpool mission. Like we always know because it's a dope stunt scene. Tom Hardy on a motorcycle is still Tom Hardy on a goddamn motorcycle because we know he's still going to survive this. So why are they having a 7-minute car chase that was pretty boring? And
it was the car part of that was pretty.
Yeah,
that was long. Yeah, it was a more than needed scene.
Exactly.
That was like 3 minutes too long.
Exactly.
But some of those early ones I actually didn't mind. Like I thought they were cool.
On top of that, the other thing I want to say is like. The whole people talk about the police scene, but why were the police there to begin with?
Which part?
The police when he's fighting the police.
Because
the whole idea was he went to the building, right, and he got kicked out from the security guard, and then he was like, "You want to go up?" And so he goes. That was cool. He went up, right? He went up, and he breaks into the fucking facility. Puts his phone down, do the right thing, but then they take the elevator down, and then a bunch of cop cars. I'm like, but why? That's the point I didn't understand. Was there security in the window or something? Is that what happened? Like, it's little things like that kind of was like, did you just have this scene for the sake of having the scene? Like
almost because they also recorded 40 extra minutes.
Right. Not to mention the fact that it's like, didn't he just have a conversation with him about how he doesn't want to kill people or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, okay, I won't kill anybody, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bite a police officer's head. Like,
yeah, it just, the movie.
Little things like that really kind of made it hard for me to really digest. And I'm not one of those viewers, sorry to say, but I'm not one of those viewers that can really just turn my brain off during a movie like that. I think it's gone for so long. I've been doing this for so long that I can't help but to note, as I've said before in my other reviews with Venom, is like, this is 2018 where motherfuckers are literally committing genocide with a snap of the fingers.
The quality's gotta be a little...
And it's believable. Like a purple grimace is literally killing dudes. And we're believing it, and we're feeling it into other movies where we can have Jason Momoa wearing a bright ass orange and green suit, and we're feeling it. That's because there's craft put into it. You can't have this kind of lazy screenwriting anymore in
No.
2018. So that's what bothered me the most about it.
You know what? And I do agree with you. I feel like it lost its composure, around just the thing around that part of the film, and when Riot was introduced, and just
Why did they have the name Riot? Why did he have the name Venom? Like, it's like, where did they get these? Like, if they had alien names, I might have believed that a little bit more. But why did you have the word Siren, Riot? I know why. It's a comic book fan.
I know, but as an audience goer, it's like, why should they?
Why would they have or English names? Like, if the Venom symbiote is technically a loser, why does he have a badass name like Venom? like, if he's a loser on the planet.
Yeah, like, why didn't they dive into that a little bit more? It's like, you just say, I'm a loser too, Eddie. Like, you know, like, they could have made this movie.
It's like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the first 40 minutes, so I enjoyed it. Like, I was like, I had low expectations. It's not that bad. But they just started going. They lost a decent composure that they maintained for at least that. And if they had sustained that for the entirety, even when it started getting a little bit longer, it might have been like, okay, like, you know, this was like a not a good movie. Like, I know it's not great, but it was decently enjoyable. Like, I think people can watch this and be like, you know, it's not that bad.
I think character development was completely thrown out the window somewhere in the editing process. And if they, like, you do make good points that, like I said, if they showed the perception of the symbiotes a little bit more,
put a little more detail and attention later on in the film
as to why some of that would have worked, it would have worked a little bit better toward the end of the movie and towards the beginning. There were a lot of things they probably could have cut out, and there were a few things that they could have needed a little bit more.
Like, I know people saying, like, oh, this isn't meant to be super serious, like, it could be goofy and stuff.
Yeah, but it still needs to be a fucking,
decent.
like yeah.
Like, you can have it, like, dude, Venom can be goofy, it can be, you know, horror, scary, it can be a mix of things, because that's what the character is, it's a mix of all those things. But, like, as a story and a film, just be a little bit more consistent with what you're trying to provide.
And I think the same people that say that kind of shit are the same people that watch Transformers over and over and over again. Like, it's the same type of people that will go watch these movies, and, like, I give up on Transformers after the second movie because I'm like, dude, it's progressively getting worse and worse, but people are still going to see it. That's their prerogative. That's the kind of movies they want to see, but I'd rather not have these characters that I love so much being treated that same sort of way. And 5 years from now, we're gonna be like, oh man, you mean those crappy ass superhero movies? Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I mean, like, just thinking about it quickly, for me, writing was fairly weak. I think performances, other than Tom Hardy, I don't think it was all too great. I think even Roz Ahmed's the guy's name, who played Riot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of another actor, but the guy who played him, he kind of felt like he phoned it in as well.
I didn't like him at all.
Yeah, I felt.
I don't know why they cast him like that. Like, if they needed an ethnic dude, you know, there's a lot of other dudes that probably could have done exactly the same job.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about representation, I mean, I guess they did a decent job. They had some Asian representation. Although they're all just like side characters, like symbiotes. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny, and the Cebu actually, because I'm going out there as well. But I don't know. I just it was funny because watching that dude that played Riot or whatever it was, I was like, he kind of just reminded me of the same. Like, he could have been related to the Flash Thompson bully in SpiderMan Homecoming. And I'm just like, why do they keep on picking these Indian dudes that are supposed to be intimidating?
You know, yeah, I mean, I just don't think they did a good job, like, setting up that character at all. And then, yeah, the film definitely lost composure for me. And don't even get me started on the ending, the last, like, 20 minutes of the fight scene with Riot. I couldn't even see what the fuck I was watching. I could not even. It literally became a goop fest.
Yeah. I don't actually mind, because I know. See, that's the thing. That's what stressed me out the most, is because I knew exactly what they were going for based on the comics,
but it just did not translate.
It didn't translate. It never translated that well. Even in the comic books, what they were doing was they were basing it off of a Venom versus Carnage fight cover. Just the cover, and it's because the cover you can sit and you can look at it.
Wow,
but the actual pages of them fighting like that was never like that. Usually when they're choking, when they're fighting each other out, you still can see bodies, and you see the symbiotes doing different things. But they tried, and I appreciated what they were trying to do. But at that point, if you're gonna have that kind of fight, you're probably going to need different colored type of symbiote.
You're probably because they were kind of
right,
like
yeah, dark gray and the Venom. It's like, it doesn't really. You're like, what? And like, I go back to the same Transformers things. When you have two Transformers fighting, if they look the same, it's like, who's punching?
And like, this is what I mean when the film lost composure around the 45-minute mark or something like that. He's like, "You gonna go up, Eddie?" And then not even that. He's like, "Don't fight them." He's like, "Pussy." Oh, do you remember that?
Which one?
Venom called Eddie a pussy because he didn't want to fight the guys?
No. Venom calling Eddie a pussy because he didn't want to jump down.
Oh, jump down, yeah.
That was funny.
It was funny, but I was like, are you really doing
I like that though. I kind of like that.
And then, what else? When Riot was, who was the worker at the place? She was like the scientist?
Yeah.
She goes up to Eddie like, he's a bad guy. So this is my favorite part of the movie. Or like hilarious. She gets caught by him.
Gives him up. Yeah.
The character's like, you know what? I forgive you. Don't worry about it. Just tell me the name. She's like, Eddie Brock. Yo, this man dropped her so quickly. He's like, open it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, open it.
Right?
That was fucking hilarious. There was like,
that was it. I wonder whatever happened to her actually.
She
died, right?
Dead as fuck. She died.
And then, Venom. That's right. And the symbiote jumped over to weird.
Yeah.
Just all weird.
There was a lot of moments in this movie that weren't intentionally supposed to be funny that I found hilarious.
Yeah, there's just so many little things I'm like that symbiote literally was like killing different people left and right, and then finally mixes with Eddie. But at the same time, I was still like, why? In the context of this movie, literally, why?
It was too convenient.
Why did this symbiote decide to just bond with Eddie instead? Like, and when he was when in the beginning was just good. They had the same intention Riot had, was like kill everybody, and even the symbiote was saying like, oh, it'll be a shame when this city is gone or whatever, and then 15 minutes later it's like, why did you change your mind? Oh, because of you, Eddie, you changed my mind.
Yeah,
but I'm like, but why?
Where?
What point? Like,
where was the change? Where was the progression? Why don't you put some background? Why is Venom a loser? Where did this thought process come from?
Because here's the thing.
You just saw, you were just connected to this guy and you noticed, oh, his life's kind of shitty. Like, he lost a job and his girl that he likes. Fuck it, I'll just stay here forever and just forget anything I was trying to do earlier.
In the comics-wise, there was... and that's the thing that really bothered me. A lot of the origin stuff, they were trying to mix in different things. But yes, the symbiote... the symbiote in its home planet was actually banished and punished by the other symbiotes. The original ones were parasites. They would go to different home worlds, suck up their host bodies till they were drained of nutrients, and then they would just move on planet to planet, basically, and suck the life. Mm-hmm. But the Venom symbiote, or we just would say the other at that time, wanted to actually just bond with the host and have a union, and the other symbiotes were like, fuck you, nigga, and literally put him in a rocket and sent him to the Beyonder world, where he eventually found Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Later, flashback to Deadpool fucking with the symbiote first, and that's why Venom was so crazy. But all that being said, this version was just like, oh yeah, you're a loser. I was like, what?
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Maybe, also it might be a little bit like, I'm a journalist, maybe I was, empathizing with, Eddie for a bit down and out when he lost his girl and all that stuff. But I enjoyed those moments. But yeah, the rest of the movie was not very bueno for me.
It was a mix of things that just didn't really blend so well for me. The question is,
sorry?
No, the question is sequel.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So the question is, do you want to see another Sony Venom movie, or like sort of even spin-off, whether it's Silver Sable or any of these other sort of spin-offs that they have going on?
I would love to see the Morbius movie. I would love to see a Silver Sable movie, even a Black Cat movie, because I think that it's cool that they are trying to venture into those situations, because I feel like those villains and those side characters are less connected to Spider-Man, that they can have their own sort of stories like that. I feel like you can just mention Spider-Man. You don't even... Like, Venom, I completely think they should have included Spider-Man in some form or fashion. I don't think they should have rushed this particular movie. I feel like they could have waited till Infinity War had wrapped up and
find some sort of common ground.
Exactly, just something it's some sort of common ground. Like, okay, Spidey, you were on Titan. Okay, shit, when you disappeared, you did touch a symbiote or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some common ground like that. When Thanos snapped everybody and it got erased back into existence or some shit.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
just to clarify too, like those don't impact my thoughts, and I don't think your thoughts on how this Venom was, like the actual film itself was.
Well, what do you mean?
Like looking at Venom just itself, not like what it could have been if it was connected to the MCU. I'm just like my thoughts are just on Venom itself, not actually.
Oh yeah, this particular review itself. I mean, my thoughts is coming from the background of someone who's deeply connected to Venom through the comics and maybe the animated series, but outside of what they're doing in it, because I have said repeatedly, even though people will get it twisted, is that I prefer Sony keep the Venom, the Spider-Man rights. All like I prefer Sony continue to make their own type of Spider-Man movies and branch Spider-Man's world, because he has a great world, a great rogues gallery, almost as good as Batman's. And if it's put into the MCU, I feel like it's just part of a smaller part of a bigger Avenger world, and
they won't get the spotlight. That
exactly. I would love a Kraven the Hunter story.
You know what? That's a good point. I hope.
I personally, I would not like to see another sequel. I wouldn't like to see a sequel to Venom. That's personally me. If they do make another one, it's fine. I probably won't be mentioning it ever on the channel, especially after those end credits.
It's gonna be carnage. Woody Harrelson, what the fuck are you doing with that mop on your head?
What are you doing with that line? This is the thing I go back to about like it's 2008.
They didn't even try.
You didn't need to drop that. Like the fans will already know where he's going.
The blood on the wall,
right?
Like
fans will already go. Like it was just 2008.
It was too much.
Man.
For me, Venom went overboard after a certain point with almost every aspect to it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, would I want to see sequel? Probably not. If they do like a hard pivot where it's like, you know what, maybe we learn from the mistakes. We're gonna try and take it a little bit more consistent what we want to do in our ideas, and not be all over the place. Maybe even throw in some MCU. Maybe they figure out some shit. Maybe
if they do, and that's another problem that kind of
get a better talent behind it.
I mean, that's the other problem that leads to it's like these people that are saying Venom is great, and then they really want to see Spider-Man in the next movie. But I'm like, why? There's no emotional investment anymore. What's the point of Venom and Spider-Man fighting?
It's the kind of
because they don't know each other anymore, and
they kind of already set that up, right? They don't really.
There's no reason for them to actually hate each other anymore. Venom's already gone into the point, especially if they bring Carnage into the next movie.
It's too late.
Venom is already setting himself up as a hero.
Do you know the funniest part about this movie is for me? It's like do you remember when the Sony emails leaked?
Yeah.
Years ago?
Yeah.
This is exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's the funniest part to me. It's like, I knew, like, so basically if you guys don't know what the Sony emails were, it was like, all their emails came out like 13, 14?
It was like 3 terabytes of data from Sony, and that's the whole reason we have Spider-Man in the MCU now.
Because they basically, this was around Andrew Garfield's time.
Yep.
All these emails came out between like Amy Pascal and like Avi Arad, the people behind this movie.
Yep.
And
Kevin Feige talking so much shit about Amazing Spider-Man.
They basically said like Amazing Spider-Man, we're gonna do Amazing Spider-Man 3, then we're gonna do Amazing Spider-Man 4 meets Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. They had all these like outlandish ideas, like they just smoked a bowl of like crack or some shit. They were just like the dumbest things. They're like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 4, 2 billion name value alone. Like they're just saying all this crazy shit. Then they're saying like Carnage, Venom versus Carnage, and all these spin-offs. And what I honestly think now, even after everything, is they're still going with those plans, and they don't give up. And
I don't think they care. I mean, I think a lot of you guys have to realize, as a fan, the business side of this is these people really don't care whether or not it's a decent story or not, and that's what kind of hurt me the most with this Venom movie. Is it's a huge box office opening.
It's making a lot of money, so objectively speaking,
people will see it. People are seeing it on the name alone. Like that, not because, and people realize, I think most people realize it's not a great story, but they're still, but because it's Venom, and those Sony emails that leaked out, literally they said.
They said what they said what they were gonna do 5 years ago.
No, what I was saying is they literally said it doesn't really story doesn't really matter because most of the money they make is overseas and people don't speak English anyways. And when I read about that, when that leaked email came out, I'm like, that is so fucked up, but at the same time, that makes a lot of sense. I live in Japan. Literally, my Japanese friends, like almost every movie that comes out except Justice League, and they love it and they eat it up because they don't know the difference whether or not this is a good acting, good storytelling, regardless.
So, I mean, you feel that behind, and they said 5 years ago they're going to do this shit, and even though all these new changes have happened and everything, they're low-key still going with that same exact plan with black, like, you know, Silver and Black and all these other spin-offs. So, Venom is the first byproduct, I think, out of that. Fans seem to enjoy it, though. I mean, from the... I think the Rotten...
In my opinion, I would say wait till second week and see what's up, because I personally feel that this is... me and Armin from Comic Book Cast have a theory that a lot of deceased the old deceased fans and Snyder fans are now they're hopping on the Sony's Venom train just to kind of stick it to the MCU basically, and they're supporting it like that, and there's a lot of fake hype behind it. And I would say wait till the second weekend. The second week, that's usually because to me it feels like this year's Suicide Squad or this year's Batman v Superman, where it's high-ranking money, but it'll get critically panned. And
that's the thing. The critics gave it a bad score. It's got like a 30-something last time I saw, but the fan score was pretty high. I mean, look. Like I said, I think I can see, you know, just general movie-going audience members having fun with it, and it made a decent amount of money. But I mean, from like our perspective, like people who were like reviewed or stuff, and just like are a little bit more detailed about.
I think people will see it because of Tom Hardy and what have it, but will they continue to see it? That's the real question.
That's the real thing. Yeah. So I'm not too sure. Venom, I don't think I really want a sequel. This feels like.
If it was anything, if it was a movie by any other name, Upgrade, or what was that PlayStation game called?
Ready Player One?
No.
PlayStation.
No, PlayStation where Infamous.
Infamous.
If it was something like that, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more, because it's so detached from the Venom that I know that it was really hard for me to enjoy. But if it was just like Alien Goop Fest Fighters or some shit like that, I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah. So I mean. It almost feels like this is a Venom that would face Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield. Like it feels like they're almost in the same world to me.
Damn.
Like that's like when I think of Venom, I feel I'm almost aligned those two movies for me. It's like I think they're very similar.
Interesting.
But anyway, I think that's long overdue.
That's more than enough, yeah.
Yeah, this is our Venom chat/review. I personally would probably give the movie like I would go and say a 5 out of 10 for me personally. If we're going numbers. Like rating stuff?
Yours was 3.5 or something like that.
3.5.
Like, it was just hard for me. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, and I'm more or less disappointed because I feel like I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the full contractual obligations of this whole Spider-Man verse but I just don't understand why it's so hard for Sony and Marvel for this to get along with, and a part of the blame, I'm not saying that like it's all Sony's fault. I think a lot of this actually has to do with Kevin Feige and the rest of the people at Marvel and Disney, based upon what's going on with Netflix, the way we have these great Netflix characters, but they're not included in the MCU either. So I don't feel it's both sides, but I just felt like I preferred if they didn't make this movie at all until they could have done it right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's our thoughts and comments on Venom. What did you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? We'd love to hear your thoughts. But anyway, that's it for us. Don't forget to check out your boy Akasan, Honest Reactions, for coming out to the channel. Appreciate your time, fam. And
we are Venom.
Venom. Anyway, we'll see you all next time.
Wakanda forever. Symbiote forever. Release the symbiote cut.
Oh my god. Alright, peace guys.